fucking stoned. Hey Kel Kats, welcome back to another episode of Intoxicated. I'm your host, Kelsi Davies, and tonight we have a very special guest, guys. It is my father, my dad, Outdoors PD,
you guys
Perry
are
Davies.
So lucky to have me today.
Why are they so lucky?
Because I dressed up like a giant lemon to be here today.
Yeah, if you guys are watching this live on YouTube, or if you guys want to watch this live on YouTube, my YouTube channel is Kelsi Davies, and you can see my dad in his lemon shirt. I like it. I think it's a nice color on you. I think it, like brings out your skin tone. And
Well, thank you.
yeah, I think Lola likes it too. My haunted doll, who is behind me. Oh.
It brings out the red in my eyes right now.
Speaking of red eyes, what is your intoxicated choice of the night?
What do you mean?
What did you, did you smoke, or drinking? What's your intoxicated choice?
Oh, smoking and drinking.
Yeah, so he's getting cross-faded is the term for it.
I'm feeling wonderful right now.
Are you? The weed's pretty good, huh?
You're lucky to be around me because I can feel my wonderfulness emanating from myself.
Emanating, wow. That's really strong. That's really powerful. I smoked a hybrid with him. It was from Alien Labs. I think they kind of infuse the weed and make some crazy shit because I'm feeling pretty thoughtful tonight. I'm feeling very conversation. I had a incense. I was burning a conversation incense, so it was basically the throat chakra incense. Do you feel more communicative? That's kind of the vibe I tried to put out into the air.
Right now, if I were to rate how I feel, but on a food scale.
A food scale?
Yeah, I like to use a food scale.
Uh-huh.
So right now I'm feeling delicious.
Delicious.
Yes.
Okay. Drewlicious is calling me right now. My boyfriend. So do you want to tell him about Drewlicious?
Sure. Yeah. When I met Drew, I nicknamed him Drewlicious, and now my Thai girlfriend thinks his name is actually Drewlicious. So last night when she called, she was like, "Hi, Drewlicious."
So that is his name, is Drewlicious now. If you guys don't know, that's my boyfriend. His name is Drew. He's been on this podcast a couple times. I don't know. I try to get him on this podcast more. I try to get him in my content more. He's kind of more to himself type of guy, just does his own thing. But last time on Intoxicated, oh wait, hold on. I want you guys to follow my dad because he also does some social media, or is starting to. There's Outdoors PD on YouTube. And then what's your TikTok?
Well, I don't know. Perry Davies, I think.
Was it Perry.Davies?
Jeez, I have no idea.
You don't even know what your TikTok is?
Why would I know what my TikTok is?
Because you post on it all the time.
Well, yeah, but I don't ever look and see what my name is or anything.
Oh, I found it. It's Perry Davies, PerryDavies. So you guys can go follow him on TikTok. And yeah, go give him some love because
I'm almost famous. I have 1,154 followers.
Woo!
And 5,700 likes. Hoorah!
Yeah. Imagine that many people in a room. That's a good amount of people. Heck yeah. Let's get them to 2,000 if we can do that. That would be amazing. But last time we talked about government mind control. So, what do you think of government mind control? Have you heard of MK Ultra?
Well, no, enlighten me on that. I mean, I think that government mind control is the same type of mind control that we use on other countries.
We use mind control in other countries?
Yeah. We go in and we divide them in half and make them fight each other.
Oh.
And when they're fighting each other, we don't have to worry about them.
Yeah.
So I believe the government does that to us, but I don't know that they really do it intentionally. I think they just do it because we're so divided right now that we're probably at our weakest point.
Wow. I was not paying attention to what you just said. Wait, okay.
Well, I'm not going to repeat it.
I was
I don't
trying to
remember
fix
what I
this
said.
microphone.
So
I was trying to fix your microphone, and I was so distracted that I didn't.
Okay, well, tell me about
It
MK
sounded really
Ultra.
deep, though.
MK Ultra sounds like a drink.
It sounds like a drink. Well, it's not a drink. So, MK Ultra, I'm going to read this little article on it. It says, on this day in 1953, I don't know what date this was, the then director of Central Intelligence officially approved Project MK Ultra. So the project, which continued for more than a decade, was originally intended to make sure the United States government kept up with presumed Soviet advances in mind control technology. Kind of what we were just talking about, or I think that you were just talking about.
Well, more like Jason Bourne type stuff.
Jason, what's that? Jason Bourne?
Oh, Kelsi.
I don't know. Enlighten me.
It's just a movie about a guy that kind of goes through the same thing. He was,
Oh, okay.
you know, like there's a lot of people that believe that there are actually like an older generation of people that were part of an organization like that. I don't know what it was called, but I guess MK Ultra is what it was called.
Maybe. It was probably based off of it, honestly.
I mean, the book The Catcher in the Rye, I guess a whole bunch of like just various people like but they all read like the book The Catcher in the Rye, you know.
Oh, really? That is bizarre. Actually, I think I remember I heard something on that. It was like a big conspiracy theory that the book influenced. I think they even did a South Park episode on it, honestly. I think they made Butters like he was like, kill John Lennon or something. Like he wanted to go kill John Lennon because he read The Catcher in the Rye or something. I can't remember. Does anyone remember that South Park episode? Guys, I love South Park. They actually go into a lot of conspiracies and a lot of different, it's really interesting. Like if you really watch it, they like cover everything. It's pretty impressive.
South Park?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think they've definitely have a lot of foresight.
Yeah.
And some of the shit that they've done that's come true has been pretty bizarre.
In The Simpsons, too. The Simpsons, like, predicted a lot of things that happened. And there's a lot of weird things on that. That'll be another podcast topic that I need to do. But going back into MK mind control, there was Soviet advances in mind control technology. It ballooned in scope, and its ultimate result, among other things, was illegal drug testing on thousands of Americans. It wasn't the first time that the American government, without permission or notice, secretly gathered information on its people. MK Ultra has gone down in history as a significant example of government abuse of human rights, and these people believe it's for a good reason. The intent of the project was to study the use of biological and chemical materials in altering human behavior. According to the official testimony of CIA Director Stansfield Turner in 1977, the project was conducted in extreme secrecy. Because of ethical and legal questions surrounding the program and the negative public response that the CIA anticipated if MK Ultra should become public. So they basically use drugs and intoxicating effects to enhance the ability of individuals to withstand privation, torture, and I don't know what's coercion. I don't know. Coercion.
Coercion?
I have no idea what that is.
Maybe it's coercion?
Coercion? I don't know. I'm probably saying it so wrong.
Well, I wasn't listening to the whole thing, but coercion probably fits in there.
Okay, well, basically...
I mean, mind control is coercion.
Yeah.
To an extent, you know.
Yeah, basically, like, they were doing controlled testing of substances like LSD and, like, different effects and, like, how it alters the human brain, and they would do all these, like, weird mind control, like, things, I guess.
Well, the military has used drugs for 100 years.
Yeah.
On soldiers. I mean, especially the Germans. They were giving the Germans, I think it was meth or, like, an older crank or
That's aggressive.
Yeah, no, these guys would get totally hyped up and then just fight like madmen,
Jeez. That's
but
crazy.
it's been around for a long time, so.
Yeah. I mean, I believe it, honestly. Like, I don't know, it's just weird how drugs, like, affect, like, even spiders. They've, like, tested them on spiders, and you see the way that they did their webs and how everything, like, I don't know, it's just so crazy. Hi, Sam.
Hello.
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 Sam just got here, guys. Sam and Chris are downstairs. Sam and Chris Star. Sam, I gotta get you on the podcast, too.
I'm next, dibs.
Sam calls dibs, guys.
There's like a lot of weird stuff with mind control and a lot of conspiracies out there, so correct me if I'm wrong. Anything that I say, I did not research it. I've just picked up stuff when I was watching YouTube, but let's take the shooting that they had in the grocery store. Remember that? It was like 3 months ago or 4 months ago.
Oh, the Twitch streamer?
That was a guy that he drove like 200 miles, walked into the store and shot everybody up and killed the security guard, and then he got arrested and taken away, and it was just, they just wrote it off as just like another Columbine shooting. When you dig a little deeper, and this could be complete BS, but this is what I saw on YouTube, like you're watching on YouTube, so don't take my word for it, check it out for yourself. But apparently the security guard worked there, but he was also a bit of a scientist, and he developed an engine just like the guy developed an engine like 20 years ago that would run on like half gas, half water. And just like the guy that, I think it was like 20 or 30 years ago, this guy was preaching it on TV, and they even did news stuff on him, and he had a car that ran on water, turned up dead. And so this guy was doing the exact same thing, and there's actually like a newscaster talking to him about his engine, and then this other guy drives 200 miles to his work and kills him and shoots a bunch of other people.
Oh my god.
And they still have no idea what this guy's motives were, and maybe
It was something to do with that, you think?
I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of a weird thing. Maybe we shouldn't even talk about it.
That is weird. Well, it's like, I don't know. It's like you never know. Like, this podcast is for open-minded people. So if you're not open-minded, get the fuck out of here. Anyway, okay, I want to get into the New York cemetery.
Ah, well, that was interesting.
So I took my dad on a ghost hunt with me. If you guys don't know, I do a lot of like paranormal type ghost hunting, investigation. I don't know what to call it, but I just go to the most haunted places in the world. And I brought my dad with me on one trip. It was a long time ago. It was on another channel that I had before. It's not even on this channel anymore.
Yeah, that's a good video too.
Yeah, no, it was on my old channel, and it was okay. So we went to the New York cemetery, and we were in the middle of nowhere, like butt fucking nowhere. I have no idea where we were, and
We're about 30 miles south of Albany.
Okay, he knows where we were. I don't fucking know where
Out
we
in
were.
the middle of nowhere in a little town called Germantown, but it's not really a town.
That's right. Okay, so we went into the cemetery because it looked super duper creepy, and we didn't know anything about this place. Like, we just knew it was very old, and the tombstones were all like super old. We pull up, and the first tombstone we see is a Rockefeller. So we were like, that's interesting. Like, a Rockefeller, I wonder if it's the Rockefeller family. And then we pulled forward, and Rockefeller, like all these Rockefellers, like the entire, I don't know what generation of them it was. It was old, like 1800s, maybe 17,
Yeah, it's an
1800s.
old cemetery.
Yeah, so we went there, and there was just a lot of weird shit that happened.
More than just a lot of weird shit. I mean, we were walking, and all of a sudden, keep in mind the cemetery is probably, 10 acres, and there's nothing on the right, and there's nothing on the left.
Yeah.
And there's not even a grocery store in town, or none of that. All there is a little Lawson's liquor store, and then across the street is this little tiny mom and pop grocery store
There's a
that they
little
serve
chapel,
like a
too.
bakery.
Right? Wasn't there a chapel right there too?
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's the town. There's a little tiny post office, and that's the town. So there's nothing there. And we went there. I don't know how late it was, but yeah, we just started hearing these really loud bangs.
Yeah, we both just started getting freaked out. I saw something in the distance and I caught it on camera. It looked like a figure of like almost a little kid or something. Do you remember that? It was like in the video, and we rewinded it. We tried to figure out if it was a statue or what it was, but it was transparent. Whatever I caught on camera and what I saw, it was just so weird. And this was before I really understood my gifts, my mediumship, like understanding, you know, like the spirits basically. So I was just terrified the whole time. Like we actually ran out of there. We actually decided to get going because there was these loud bangs. It sounded like rocks being thrown at the tombstones, and we would look around and
Or
no one was
hitting
around.
a tombstone with a 2x4 or something.
Yeah.
Like, really loud.
It was weird, and you were kind of skeptical, right? You were just like, oh, I don't know if we're
Well,
like
at first I was
haunted.
like, all right, somebody's just messing with us, you know, because
Yeah.
it was like over on the, we're in the cemetery, but we were facing the back of the cemetery, so it was over on the right.
Mm-hmm.
And then like 5 minutes later, it was on the left.
Yeah.
And then it was, which is like a quarter mile. I mean, these
Yeah,
were
there's
really,
no way someone
really
could've just
loud
ran.
noises. These weren't just like little noises. These were really loud. And then some were totally different, you know, and then your little ghost meter was going nuts.
I had an EMF meter, so it detects electromagnetic frequency changes in like, you know, the frequencies and whatever. I don't know how to explain it, but it basically goes red if there's a significant change, you know, and it started flashing red. And
Yeah.
then we kept hearing the banging. So we
Yeah, and it's
decided to
getting
poke
closer.
it. Yeah, it kept getting closer. The spirit box was not.
Yeah,
really
we were
picking up
already
anything.
like, okay, we're out of here, and we made it like halfway to the car, and then we stopped, and we were
Yeah.
like, no, we're not gonna leave.
Yeah, we're like, let's tough this out. We can do it.
And then it was even closer, and we were like, okay, we're freaking out of here.
I was
No,
terrified.
it was weird. I was a little weirded out that night. I was like, that was.
And the branch. Remember, you
That-
caught that in the video. We didn't even see that in person. Explain what happened there.
Well, yeah, we didn't catch it, and the wind wasn't even like blowing that night. That's just what was weird, because that was the only thing we could say was, well, maybe the wind was blowing.
But it was not blowing like that.
But it looks like something pulls the branch out of the way in the middle of
Yeah.
the video, and I was just kind of walking along and filming, you know,
Yeah.
and filmed over this way, and like something grabbed a branch and pulled it back, and I don't know, that was just bizarre. So there's a couple things on there. You should put that back on your channel.
I know. It was on like an old channel. Maybe I'll try to find it and maybe repost it or something, because that was a really creepy. I was really young though. I was like, I had blonde hair, I think, and stuff too. Yeah, I was blonde. I look so different. I think I look different. Maybe I don't, but I'm like, I just look like a baby in those videos. It's so funny to look back and see.
Well, it wasn't that long ago.
Well, I look like a baby. Like you change a lot from when you're 18.
4 years ago.
I think I was like 18 or 19. Maybe I was older. Maybe I was like 20.
I think Chris was like 12.
Yeah. Like 2 years old. I was like an infant. Like
Just remember, I'm always nice to you when you're not around.
wise words.
Just absorb that, Chris.
Chris and Perry drama, guys. We're in it. Okay, we're gonna play some moral dilemma really quick. You are an off-duty police officer. You've been drinking all night. There is a commotion outside. Someone is robbing your neighbor's house. Do you A, attempt an arrest, or B, call for backup knowing it will very likely be too late? Be the hero, or try to be the hero but fail?
Well, I'm going in, so
You go in?
yeah, it's happening. It's on.
Attempt an arrest. I don't think I could do anything. I think I would just put myself in danger and maybe like piss off the person there and put someone else in danger. So I would probably call for backup, but because I don't think I could do anything.
I'm grabbing my Keltec KSG and
I don't got that.
turning the laser on, and
All I have is a little taser.
it's a 15 round pump action shotgun.
I'll bring
12
Lola.
gauge.
He'll have that, and I'll bring Lola. guys, Lola, go stop them. Someone at the table is a spy. Do you A, torture the weakest one to try to get some information, or B, cut off the fingers of the strongest one to set an example for the rest?
Whoa. That there's too many variables involved. I mean, if I was suspecting the strongest person might be a spy, then I might have to chop their finger off.
But what if you were
wrong? But you also want really strong people around you. So if they're strong and they're an ally, then they're indispensable. So I got to go with the weak one.
Okay.
Because the weak one ultimately is going to be dispensable, whether they're no, you want the strong one.
I would just like tickle him. That would be my torture. I just tickle him until he like gave me some answers. I'd be like, give me some answers. Okay. Your new neighbor is always changing directly in front of his large picture window.
That's me.
Everyone in the neighborhood can see him naked.
Oh my God. Is this a joke?
But he doesn't seem to notice. Do you A, I think I've asked someone this before, send him an anonymous note in the mail letting him know that you can see him naked all the time, or B, ignore it and let him figure it out on his own?
I'm going to ignore it.
Yeah.
Because I do it all the time.
I don't remember what answer I gave last time, but...
I have no blinds on my condo right now, and I am running up and down the stairs buck-ass naked.
So it's you?
Yeah.
I want to go into, okay, we're going to go back into more intoxicated topics. So we went to Thailand and we had some crazy shit happen. If you guys didn't see that, I do have a whole video on it capturing like most of it on video, which is actually pretty insane. But so we went to Thailand and I don't know, it was just, the energy there was just insane. Like I talked about this on another podcast, how crazy the energy was, but my dad being there and able to like talk about what happened, my psychic vision, things that were very supernatural feeling. I don't know. You want to talk about it? Because I've already like told this story, but I want to hear like what you think from your point of view.
Well, I mean, we rode to the Tiger Temple. And we all got our bikes, and it was Tyler on one bike, me and Noki was sitting on the back of my bike, and then there was Kelsi riding her little moped behind us. And so we get to the temple, and after a long, grueling hike, we get to the top, and it's hotter than hell.
It was beautiful up there,
it was
though.
Super pretty and super worth it. So if you ever go to Thailand, go to Krabi. So we went to the Tiger Temple, and when we came down, we went to go get on our bikes, and Kelsi was like, I don't want to ride the bike. And I'm like, really? I mean, that's like the highlight of my trip is riding those damn bikes. You know, I just think it's fun. And she's like, no, I just keep seeing the bike crash. And I'm like, all right, you know, I mean, whatever. I was going to argue with her. So Kelsi's stressing out over whatever. So I'm like, Noki, can you ride the bike? And she was like, yeah, I can ride the bike. So,
and I even asked her, remember, I was like, are you sure? I translated it on the translator app. I said, are you sure you're not going to crash it?
Yeah, and she was like, no, I can ride,
yeah.
She knows how to ride a moped. So, so now Tyler and me and Kelsi's on the back, and then Noki's riding.
Well, this was after we went to the cave, so remember.
Well, we haven't gone to the cave yet. So so then we go to the cave.
Gotcha.
And we get to the cave, and Kelsi's doing her spirit box, and
well, okay, so I did a spirit box. I was with Tyler, my dad, and Noki. They were like, I don't know where they were. They were like climbing this rope thing, they were like rock climbing on the wall and stuff. So me and Tyler went to these caves, we all did. Oh my God, I'm like so high. Okay, we all went to these caves, and as you walk into the caves, you just feel this dark energy. It was the weirdest thing. So I definitely knew there were spirits there. I kept seeing like this man sitting on the floor. We walk in, and I knew that I was like, okay, I want to record in here because this will be really interesting. There were real human remains that were like 43,000 years old. Human remains, bones just there, like real human bones.
Yeah, this cave had a lot of history. The
World War
Japanese
II,
used
right?
it as a bunker in World War II. There had been like generations of people that lived in the cave, so it was a pretty
caveman
sizable cave.
too. There were like
Yeah.
cave paintings on the wall too from caveman, and there's a lot there, a lot of energy there. I actually communicated with one man who I believe was attacked by an animal, maybe like a tiger or something like that. He was attacked in that cave, and then all of a sudden this dark energy came in and my right shoulder started like burning, and I even grabbed my shoulder in the video. And I was like, oh my God, my shoulder is burning. All this stuff happened. Like, it was just super, super bizarre. All
Yeah,
caught on camera, too.
I can hear all this because we're up on like this ledge. We rock climbed up on this ledge.
Yeah.
We're in a cave, so I can hear you doing your thing. And she's talking about her shoulder.
Yeah, my right shoulder.
Rubbing her right shoulder, and her shoulder's hurting and all this stuff, so.
Yeah.
So then eventually we leave the cave, we get back on the little boat, and he takes us back to our bikes, and we go to get on our bikes. Kelsi's like, I don't want to ride my bike still. I just keep seeing that bike crash, and I don't.
Yeah, I told him too.
She's like, I'm just having like severe anxiety over it, and I'm like, no problem, Noki was like, no problem, So Kelsi got on the back, and so we're riding back, and Kelsi keeps like whispering in my ear, she's yelling, I'm riding the bike, and she's behind me, and she's like, I just am having anxiety. I keep seeing it crash,
Yeah, I just had this really bad, even at a light, like I think it was like 2 minutes before what we're about to explain happened. At a light, I told him, I was like, I don't think this anxiety is going to go away. He was like, "What? Like, do you want me to slow down? What do you want me to do?" And I was like,
so we did slow down.
Yeah, like we did, but I was like, it's not, I told you too. I was like, that's not going to help. It's not going to help. I just have a bad feeling. I feel really anxious right now, and I just have anxiety, So he was like, okay, so we slow down.
We go around this big corner, and then Tyler pulls up next to us, and he's like, Noki went down. And we're like, shit. So we turned around, and now I'm riding the wrong way, going down, against traffic, because there was a cement median dividing the other lane. And we roll up on Noki, and before we even got there, Kelsi said, I thought it was going to be me. And I was just like,
I felt bad.
I was like trying to like see what, I wasn't like really focusing on Kelsi because I wanted to like get a visual on Noki. And so we come around the corner, and she's standing there, and I look down, and her knees are bleeding and her wrists are bleeding, she's got like road rash, and I'm like, oh, she's good to go.
And we had no idea what happened, when we were pulling
and then
up.
she pulls her shirt down, and her collarbone
was an inch.
is up here.
Yeah, like an inch out of place.
She had completely had separated her AC and her CC.
And what shoulder was it?
It was her right shoulder, the same shoulder that you were feeling pain in, and the whole thing just
it was weird,
fucking freaky.
Then we asked, okay, so Noki had a bracelet on, and it was hematite that you had gotten her. Hematite is actually a crystal used to protect against dark energy, negative energy, and it breaks when it's done and when it's collected that dark energy. Noki's bracelet broke off during the crash.
Yeah, it was just gone.
Like, she could have died. Like, she hit the side of a car. She explains it as if the truck, yeah. Like, she explains it as if her bike just started slipping. Like, it just lost control all of a sudden. She had no idea what happened.
Yeah.
And so she hit the side of the truck. The truck driver thought he killed her, was freaked out, and he
said it a couple times that he thought that she was dead because she hit the side of his truck on a moped going around a corner doing like 45 miles an hour. Those things haul. And then she went over the handlebars, and he thought that she went underneath his tire. And she landed on her head this way and her shoulder, and took all of the impact. And it's only because she weighs like 103 pounds or whatever.
It's just weird how she fell on the right when, I don't know, when the turn was like
She probably bounced off the truck and cranked the wheel and just dumped it.
It was just a weird, bizarre thing that happened. And I wanted to get my dad's perspective because growing up as a psychic medium and then coming out later, like trying to explain to my family, like I see things and weird shit happens. And then just having them see it firsthand really helps validate like how my life is, because that was just another thing that happened, you know, like.
Well, I mean, I'll say there's just no way to explain.
Yeah. Weird shit.
The sequence of events that happened, and she basically, and then on the way to Noki, she was just like, sorry, I thought it was going to be me. You know, I didn't know.
Yeah, I felt bad.
She's like talking to me, and I just wanted to see if Noki was okay, you know. And
I was like, I thought it was going to be me. I knew something bad was going to happen. I just like, my vision was not clear. So I thought if I could avoid it, you know, I thought I could avoid it by not riding the bike. But I guess it was unavoidable. Or what if I was going to be riding the bike and I wasn't as experienced on a bike as Noki? What if I would have died? What if I would have, you know, done something and it would have been worse? I don't know what happened. I wish it didn't have to happen, but
when you replay the whole thing and you watch it, it's just totally legit and freaky.
Yeah.
You know, it's just totally one of those things that you just
gives me the chills.
Can't explain it.
Yeah, it just gives me the chills. What do you think of your weird psychic medium daughter?
Well, we always knew you were a little different when you were little. We just couldn't figure out
what it was. Did I ever do anything weird? Or like anything like, well, like paranormal, like something where you thought...
You mean like floating when you were a baby above the crib?
Yeah, did I just like start flying and my eyes rolled in the back of my head and weird shit?
No, I never saw any of that.
Yeah.
But you were always a little different, that's for sure.
Yeah,
in
Michelle.
a good way.
Yeah. My mom's friend Michelle said I would stare off at corners and start giggling when she would watch me, and she would just think it was kind of weird like that I would be giggling at nothing and stuff like that. So apparently that was a thing too. But
well, it kind of explains why you never really wanted to go anywhere.
Yeah.
You didn't.
I just had really bad, and I had to sleep a lot.
She would have a lot of anxiety when she would go places. And
energy. It was just all the energy. I couldn't handle it. I would get very overwhelmed. I would see things I didn't understand. Like, it was just a very overwhelming time in my life. So it caused a lot of, like, I cried if we had to go anywhere. I literally threw a fit because I didn't want to go. And then I would take a nap on mom's lap at the dinner table. Like we would go to a restaurant, I would be sleeping, you know.
Well,
like,
that was what was weird, is like, it's almost like you would go out and then she would have to, when she got home, she'd have to like recharge.
Yeah.
That was the only way I can explain it, is we'd take her out to lunch or anywhere, and then she would have to go home, and when she got home, she had to recharge. She had to like recharge her batteries.
Yeah. That's honestly the best way to explain it, because I don't know how else to explain that, because that's literally what happened. But do you think you have any like gifts like that? Do you think that, because we know it runs on my mom's side of the family, the Native American side, but your side too, I don't know, you're like, I feel like you have had paranormal experiences, like you grew up in a haunted home too. Do you want to talk about that? Because I was like, that was always like a really fascinating story I always loved when I was younger, like about the house you grew up in that was haunted.
Well, I mean, it's the Byram House in Sag Harbor, so you can probably Google the Byram House, Sag Harbor, New York. And I grew up there. My dad and I and a few other people renovated the house. I mean, we spent a couple of summers up there just renovating the house. And a lot of people that spent the night there had a lot of like sightings and weird experiences.
Wasn't there a cemetery like
Yeah, there's a cemetery right next to it, and it's an old cemetery. It's a whaling cemetery. So it's all the whalers that Sag Harbor was a big whaling town. It's in Long Island, New York. So a lot of people had spent the night in this bedroom upstairs and had experienced like sightings, and my sister did as well. And I'd never really seen anything there myself, but I had always heard and just, you know how you get that hair standing up on the back of your neck feeling,
it.
that happened a lot. And having this huge cemetery, not just a little cemetery. This is
Would you say it was like on the cemetery? Or
Yeah, it's on the cemetery.
On the
I mean,
cemetery. Like, how far was a tombstone from the house?
Maybe like 20 yards.
That's crazy.
No, it's literally the yard and then a little fence and the cemetery. Yeah. So the houses and the Amityville windows, that's what I call them, those little half quarter octagon windows are on that side staring at the cemetery. So it was always just a really spooky place, and there was some guests that would come and stay with my dad and never come back.
Didn't they all say they explained, like, I remember your dad talking about this, that he said they would explain the same man. Like, multiple people came in and explained the same man standing at the end of the hallway, and they would see him walking or something.
They thought it was Ephraim Byram. He was the
astronomer?
Yeah, he was an astronomer. He was the originator of the house.
And he was buried in that cemetery, right?
I don't remember if he was buried there or not, but I know the house was built in 1853 and he built it. So my bedroom was on top. The third floor of the house was just an observatory. It was basically just a square room on top of the house, and he used that as an observatory, and that was my bedroom.
That's so crazy. Have you so I know you've had some paranormal experiences. What's one that you've always remembered, or something that maybe changed your mind or opened your eyes? Or
Well, working at the hospital, I'm not going to say what hospital it was, but I was working there with my longtime employee George, and it was me, George, and Austin, and we were working every night in the ward where they would bring old people when they were kind of, or maybe
ready
not just
pass.
Old, but they were getting ready to unalive,
Yeah.
So we worked for probably 2 months. Every night I would.
And they did construction.
Yeah, it's construction. So we would go in and start at 8 at night and work till 3 or 4 in the morning in this wing. After a couple of days, we noticed that this one room, we would go in and it had a pull string on the light above the bed, and you'd pull the chain once and a light would come on at the top. You'd pull it twice and it'd come on at the bottom, and then you'd pull it the third time and both lights would come on, and then the fourth time it would go off. So it's like, it's this old,
really pull it.
old light, and that light just kept coming on and kept coming on and kept coming on, and we'd go in and
turn
you
it
have
off.
to you have to pull it 3 more times to get it to go off, and it was just totally bizarre that it kept happening in the same room. And then it got to the point where George showed up at the job site, and I was coaching at the gym, and he called me at 8:30, and he was like, "I'm out of here." I'm like, "What, dude? You just got there an hour ago." And he's like, "I am freaking not working here. There's just some weird shit going on, and I'm out." And George is not
That's not
that
his
kind
thing.
of,
Yeah.
George was just I'm done,
Wow.
So then fast forward, I think it was the next night or the night after, and it's me and George and Austin again, and we're working, and I'm in the where the nurse station is, and then the wing is set up like a horseshoe, and they're working over in the room to my left in the corner, and then there's 4 rooms in the horseshoe, and then on each wing next to me, and all the lights are off. Everything's off, because we would go in there and we'd work in that room, and we only kept the lights on in the rooms that we were working on. So I'm working, and I'm looking down, and I'm putting material on a cabinet door, and I see somebody walk by to my right, and I thought it was Austin. It was a tall person, and they walked by in my peripheral vision and went around the corner and up the wing. And the wing is totally pitch black, and at the end of the wing is a big zipper, construction zipper, to get out. It's like a plastic tent
would
material.
hear, like, if they
Oh
were
yeah,
getting
no,
out.
it's zzz, it's really loud to get in and out of there. And we didn't even use that wing. We used the other wing to get in and out. So I saw somebody walk by, and I thought it was Austin, and then I looked over and I saw Austin and George right there, and I'm like, okay, we are the only ones in here. The only way to get in and out of this wing is through one of the two zippers, and that's it. So somebody just walked by me. So I'm like walking over, and I didn't like say anything to those guys. They're working because I didn't want to sound like a nut job. And so I'm walking down this hallway, and every door is closed. All the lights are pitch black.
Like, there's no way. No
And I
one.
walked up to the zipper at the end, and the hair was just standing up on the back of my neck. So then I stared opening each door one at a time.
Oh,
And I'm like
that's the
turning on the
worst.
light, and then I'm looking in the bathroom, and then I go to the next one, and they open, and it's, no, there was nobody there. So it was just bizarre.
There's probably so many creepy stories in hospitals. If anyone works at a hospital or has had like a paranormal experience in one, I want you guys to comment below. I want to read your stories. I'll feature one on the next episode. But that is so creepy. Has it?
Well, I did ask towards the end of the project, like about a month and a half in, I ran into one of the nursing staff there, and I asked her, I was like, hey, what, like, you guys ever see anything? And they were like, oh yeah, and they called out the room number.
Ooh.
I was just like,
The one with the light that turned on?
yeah. I
Oh,
was
that's
just like,
creepy.
Whoa.
Wow. I wonder if they...
So they were very aware of like weird stuff that happens.
That's so interesting. I wonder why they would like stay at a hospital. I've always wondered that. Like, why would they? I don't know. I guess if their death was tragic or whatever, like, I wonder why some spirits stick to hospitals. But then I also wonder why some spirits stick to different things, like it's just so interesting to like dig into all that and hear like theories on it. Why do you think a spirit would stick around like a hospital?
I don't know. I think sometimes, they just get lost, or they've got unfinished business to do.
Yeah.
They're not ready to go, but they can't figure it out and just get stuck in one spot, and they just get lost in the shuffle. Some people get on the train, and some people just wander around the station for the rest of their lives.
That's kind of what it's like too with a lot of spirits I've talked to, and I've tried to help them move on. Some of them don't even realize they're dead. Some of them don't even like understand what's going on. Like, they just keep going in this loop of, reliving everything. It's really bizarre, the things that I've heard spirits say and the things that they've shown me, and the way to like, you can't even interact with them or help them. It's like helpless lost souls. It's really, really sad. I also wanted to get into, do you still want to talk about aliens? So I was downstairs, we were smoking pot, and I was like, Dad, what is something like that we could talk about when we're high? Like, what's something interesting? He goes, aliens. I was like,
I think there are multiple different types of aliens.
I agree.
I think it's a conglomeration of things, and one of the theories is obviously that they're coming back from the future, and they're here to change the trajectory of what we're doing right now. That's why whenever any type of military action happens, military action happens,
Military. Okay.
the alien presence, or at least the UFO president, what do they call it? I don't know what they call them now.
UFOs?
ULPs or something like that. Anyways,
I don't know what that is.
goes way up during military times. So obviously right now there's a war going on, and it seems...
With aliens?
No, there's a war going on
Oh, I thought you were saying there was a war going on with aliens.
in the Ukraine.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
And during
I know that.
during the Iraq War, there was also like a really big spike of UFO appearances all over the world, particularly at MacDill Air Force Base down in Florida. They had like a lot going on there, and that was like the central command for the Iraq War.
Yeah. There has been like a lot of talk of aliens being used in war and being used for technology, like random technological advances that just didn't really make sense with like the science behind it. Like, I don't know, they were trying to say, there was an advance in science, but it's like, where'd it come from all of a sudden? And I guess during, one of the wars, I think it was Germany, they actually had satellites in space, like during the war, and they had what was it? I can't remember. If anyone remembers this, I did a whole episode on this, but there's actually a lot of talk that aliens helped World War II with the technological advances and were used. And I don't know. I feel like the government and aliens like work together. I feel like aliens are amongst us.
Well, that's what Foo Fighters, the band the Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
A Foo Fighter is what the military would call a UFO back in World War II.
Oh, okay.
That's where Foo Fighters come from.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah. Well, when you're old. Yeah.
When
But another theory is that they aren't coming from the future, but that they're coming from an altered dimension that's literally existing at the same time that we are.
I believe that.
And when stuff happens, like like we test a nuclear bomb or something like that, it affects their dimension because they're living with us at the same time, and they're like, what the hell was that disturbance? And they go and they check on us and make sure we're not up to anything. Because if we destroy our planet, we could destroy their dimension as well.
Whoa. That like blew my mind, because I like believe in the dimension thing because I've explained a paranormal experience I've had where I saw a UFO and it literally like disappeared in the sky. It was like it went somewhere else. It was so weird. Either it went at the speed of light or something, or it just went into like a fold or a dimension. And I've seen portals too, like these weird, all of a sudden I'll just see like this purple light and it's almost like in midair. It's just like in space. It's not floating or hovering. It's just there. And I don't know how to explain it, but I've actually talked to some mediums and psychics who have seen these like tears. It's like a tear in a dimension too. And I've seen shadows go in and out of it. And it almost looks like they just went into nothing, like into like a wall or something. It's just so weird. So I'm like super into the different dimensions and portals. And, like I feel like a lot of haunted places have portals. And I don't know if like the spiritual realm connects with the alien realm at all. What do you think?
Well, I mean, that kind of leads into one of the other theories, which is not only do you have the aliens, or we call them aliens, the beings that are in another dimension right next to us that are checking things out, but you also have the exact same thing going on in different dimensions throughout the universe. And they're traveling here through wormholes or whatnot to different species, but through wormholes to just kind of monitor us because we're making a lot of noise,
Right. I think there's like so many aliens.
They're a little nervous about us. So, well, when you look at the sky, I mean,
so many beings out there. It's like I don't get the concept of like we're the only ones.
Well, let's talk about the Big Bang.
The Big Bang?
Big Bang
okay,
theory.
we're gonna go into the Big Bang.
All right,
Don't
here's
Lola.
Here's my take on the Big Bang theory. And Einstein, one of the most brilliant brains of all time, is the one that kind of initiated that. So he's the one that came up with the Big Bang theory.
Okay.
So
for people who don't know what the Big Bang theory is, can you give a slight brief?
That's basically saying that the very beginning of time, that the universe had an explosion, and that was what created
planets
and stars and dust and everything, and they all went off and started spiraling, and planets were circling suns, and suns were circling galaxies, and so
Drew just walked in. If you guys just heard hello.
What's up, Drew? Drewlicious.
Drew, we're almost done. He's all high.
Oh, we were talking about the Big Bang theory.
theory.
So I am no Einstein. But I think, not that it matters, but I don't think there ever was a beginning. There was never a beginning. And people are like, well, there had to be a beginning. You know, there had to be like that first. No, there doesn't. Why? Why does there have to be a beginning? There was never a beginning.
Why? Hashtag why does there have to be a beginning? Do you think there's an end if there's no beginning?
And that's so hard for us to fathom because our brains can't grasp the concept that there was never a beginning and there never will be an end. And when you look out into these stars, it never ends. I mean, we used to think, 100 years ago that when we were looking up at the sky, we were looking at all these stars. And now we've realized that, wait, some of those aren't stars. Some of those are actually galaxies, like ours. And there's
nebulas,
thousands of them,
billions, trillions.
So you've got the Earth, you've got the sun, and then you've got a billion more of those, and that makes up this spiraling galaxy. And you look up in the sky, and there are thousands and thousands of them. And we can't even count how many galaxies there are. But let's take it to the next level. What if you pull back from all of those galaxies and they form like a mega galaxy?
And then that galaxy forms another
and then
galaxy.
You look and you see that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of mega galaxies that are harboring all the galaxies that we see would be one galaxy. And then you pull back even more. And it's a super mega, and it just goes on infinitely.
Yeah,
and
I don't
as
think
human beings, we can't grasp that concept.
I think it's the same thing with the supernatural and the paranormal. Like, some people cannot grasp the concept that some things you just cannot explain. I don't know. There's some things that science cannot explain because our human minds, like we created science, right? Like human mind. I mean,
create science, I guess the word.
Well, like we only know as much as like we can know, basically. Right. The human brain.
We're limited.
We are limited. So it's like some people don't think, they think like, oh, since science can't prove it, that means it's not real. But it's like, no, maybe we just can't grasp that concept because we cannot think to that extent, basically. Right? Like, kind of what you're saying is like...
There's all sorts of things you can think of. I mean, let's take mankind, for instance. What if on our planet, with the air and the cells and everything that are given on the planet, what if the natural progression is to become a human being? So even if humans get exterminated now, a million years from now, we'll come back, because that's the natural progression of the elements on this planet, is to create us. So what if we existed 100 billion years ago already?
Right. But we don't know.
We already existed, and we went through everything that we've gone through now, and we killed ourselves off with nuclear weapons or whatever, and dinosaurs were actually like the byproduct of the nuclear fallout.
And we will get into that in the next episode of Intoxicated. Thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And thank you to my dad who came on this podcast. Let me know if you guys want him back. Like, I think you're good on this podcast. You're blowing my mind over here. My mind's being altered in many ways. Comment below if you guys would like to see my dad back on this podcast. Shout out your stuff. It's Outdoors PD.
Outdoors PD on YouTube. So make sure you like and subscribe and watch all 6 of my videos.
Some of them are edited by me.
Yes, but they are quality videos.
And then what's your TikTok?
It's Perry Davies.
Perry Davies. And then you guys can follow me.
That has like a lot of videos on it.
Yeah, so go watch all his videos. Outdoors PD, guys. And then make sure you guys follow me on YouTube, KelsiDavies, and then on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, it's just Kelsi Davies with 2 I's and 2 S's. And Yeah, make sure you guys check out the Intoxicated merch I have. The link is down below in the description. Oh, you're good. My dad's like holding 2 Trulies in his hands right now. And I will catch you guys in the next episode. Stay woke, everyone.